Welcome everybody to our first session of the conference. Really happy you're all here. You're in for a treat today. The two most exciting speakers that I think we have in the company are here to present all about little tips and tricks that you may not know about AbaData. So I know we have some day oneers in the audience because I've met a couple of you. I will guarantee you there's going to be something that you probably didn't know was there as well. So I'll introduce Chris Eremenko, Stephanie Verity. Stephanie has been with AbaData, with Abacus for 15? Yeah, 15 years. Chris was a long-time user, first-time subscriber of AbaData. He's been with us now for 2 years, something like that. I'm going to turn it over to them, and they're going to walk you through back to basics. Our best kept secrets. What's up? Amazing. Thanks, Chris.
Good morning, my name is Chris. If you're totally sick of my voice already, then by all means, you can. We're doing this afternoon, but Stephanie and I are so happy that you guys are here for our first session. We're going to start it off here really quick. Here, just let me grab my dolls. Give you just a bit of a summary, kind of what to expect in the next kind of 30 minutes or so. So we'll look at some of the new features in AbaData 3.0. We'll look at some of those tips and tricks. We've got a few up our sleeve. And then we would love to open the floor up for, a bit of Q&A, more kind of that interaction. I'm sure there's some tips and tricks that you guys might have as well. And if you would like to share those with the rest of the users in the room, that would be great. And then in keeping with our Friday afternoons at AbaData, ladies, there are 6 seats right in the front row for you. We were saving them for you, reserved. And then, as I was saying, just in keeping with our AbaData tradition on Friday afternoons, we've got a fun little quiz right at the end. So, and prizes will be given away. But we'll kick it off here with our universal search, and Stephanie's going to run us through that.
Should I just use this one?
Sure.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. We just wanted to kind of introduce you to some of the features that you may not be familiar with now in AbaData 3. Now, I'm hoping that everybody in this room, if you are familiar with AbaData, you've had a chance to jump into 3.0 already, and you've kind of taken the plunge. Probably the first thing that you're going to notice right off the bat that's different is how you get to those locations within the platform itself. So let me introduce you to our universal search tool. You can see a screenshot here on the side. So the universal search really came about by combining two different navigational tools that we had in 2.0. So the first one that we had was those DLS and NTS boxes that you entered in your locations in 2.0 in. And then we also had that Zoom 2 tool, and that allowed you to search for map objects like pipeline licenses or well licenses. So what the universal search does is combines those two together. So now up at the top box there, you're going to be able to put in your DLS and NTS locations like normal, but you're also going to be able to search for dispositions. You can put in your pipeline and well licenses right in there, and it's going to zoom you to those locations right away. So kind of just an easier, quicker way to navigate around the platform. Sorry, you could skip ahead there. If you are one of those people that prefers to have those format boxes of where you put the range and meridian and things like that, the format boxes are still available for you. So kind of if you see here, you can see my pointer on the screen. If you just go and click on that DLS box or that NTS box, that's going to bring up those formats for you. So you still have that option available if you didn't want to kind of put it into that everything search bar.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. All right, so one of the things that we've added to the universal search is the recents and favorites. So recents are going to be your search history as you are navigating through AbaData. It's going to be all listed there for you. And then your favorites are just a faster way that you can get to the locations that you're visiting frequently within the platform. So if you see here, you can see the little star icon that is going to be beside each of the locations that you search. If you click on the star icon, it's going to pop it up here into the favorites section. And then the nice thing about the favorites is that you're actually able to edit the names of those. So you can change them to something that's more meaningful for you or for the work that you do. Maybe it's a project name or a plant site or something like that. So you can feel free to edit that any way that you would like. Chris?
Amazing. Has anybody, just a quick show of hands, universal search bar? Yes? I always call it the universal time saver, but that's just me and my sessions. Now, another one of our user-driven features is the map layer search bar. So another one of those time savers. Now, as you guys know, AbaData Maps has wonderful layers. We're a GIS program, we are a mapping program, but can you remember where those layers live? Like that can lead to extreme frustration. So we added this search bar, and if you kind of follow me here just with our little pointer, it's underneath the map display, so as you know, that's where the layers live, and then the search bar right here. So easy enough just to throw in a really abstract term like land as you start typing. All of those search results will start to appear. You can then select on any one of those layers, and the map screen is automatically populated in the background. You can then take a deeper dive into that layer by clicking on that orange link, and there, say if you were in the terrain layer, for example, you could turn on your roads, you could turn on your First Nation lands, maybe change the scaling on your lakes and rivers so you see a little bit more detail, that kind of thing. Again, this is one of those time savers, saving you a few seconds here and there as you're searching through, as you're building your map screen, as you are preparing for your day. Last thing there is, I always forget to mention this, but as soon as you click on what we consider like a child layer, your parent layer is automatically selected as well, so you're not having to do that extra step. Now, this is another one of those user-generated, those user-led features, and this is our our report subscription. So I'm talking to the right crowd. You know, maybe your mom had a Chatelaine subscription or your dad had a McLean's that landed in your mailbox every single month. Well, that was the same task that we set out to accomplish with our report subscriptions, that consistent, reliable delivery of a XX report, pipeline, well production, whatever it may be report, landing in your inbox at that regular interval. So it's found in 3 different spots. Along the top banner, that is where you would get subscriptions. You open that up and it gives you this management screen. So at any time you can go in, you can view that report, you can delete that report, you can then jump into any one of those saved reports of your saved subscriptions, and you can adjust the settings. So the parameters, the recurrences. The example I gave is, you know, if there was a new person that was added to your team, for example, you could then add that person as a recipient, add their email address, give them a little passkey that they only have to enter once, and then boom, that person will receive that same report on a weekly, monthly, daily. I think we even have a minute in there. I don't know why anybody would log one every minute or on a minute, but in any case, that subscriptions button that you see on the top banner reveals the management screen there, and then the other 2 spots are in the select reports and in the global reports. So all you have to do is just, you set your filters, sharpen that search query in the global reports. If you've got assets, map objects selected on the screen, just hit that subscribe and it jumps you right to that parameters screen that we just looked at here. Set your different parameters, so your subscription name, the output format, email settings, recipient schedule, recurrence, etc., etc. This handy dandy help button, the blue question mark, will take you through kind of a step-by-step how to set your passkey, for example, the different types of recurrences. Now, another quick show of hands. Has anybody taken part in our report subscriptions? Has anybody used that yet? In the back, thank you, Chase.
Thank you.
All right.
How do you
Oh, yes.
could you give us the example of what kind of report can intelligence they has first where it should see high record of one couple of examples one report?
Just an example of a report.
Yeah, we go. Yeah.
An example of a report would be, it's funny because I when I was going through, these were all like my kind of practice ones, and I get this ping every morning, or every Monday on any one of these reports. So you would go in, as I said, in a global report. You would select perhaps like a pipeline report. Perhaps you wanted to look at all of the abandoned pipelines for, I'm just going to use Orland upstream in Rocky View County, for example, so lock in maybe on a monthly basis. You wanted that report to be generated. So you would go into your global reports, pipeline, do the company filter, do the boundary filter, and then just select the status on those pipelines. Hit that report subscription button, and then you're off to the races setting your parameters. I hope that we can connect after as well. And then, yes, the carrot. Here we go. It was mentioned by Jason in his opening remarks that BC Pipelines for a long time has been that missing piece of the puzzle. And if you've been with AbaData for a while, which I'm sure most of you have, you can, yes, nod in agreement. So at AbaData, as you know, we are passionate about good data. We love data, but we love good data even more. So we compiled a team of machine learning engineers, computer vision specialists, GIS specialists, and data scientists to basically give us the good data on BC pipelines. BC pipeline data really is as it says here, a new standard for data integrity. And I'm going to talk about this a little bit, but I'm going to try not to get caught in the weeds too much because there is a great session on this at 1:30 this afternoon. It might be on my next slide, but if I could just briefly take you through kind of the journey that we went on. What we did was that we listened to what the BCER said. The BCER said that there is a pipeline, there is a company, that it starts in square A and ends in square B. So based on that information, we were able to start building out this network of pipelines. We took, as I said, machine learning and computer vision. We paired that up with satellite imagery and the regulator data, and we started to plot our pipelines. Now, this is just outside of Fort St. John, so kind of Charlie Lake-ish, but you can see just an example of what we were able to accomplish here. So red, as you know, in AbaData, all of our pipelines are symbolized by substance. So red is gas, fuel gas, sour gas. All of the pipelines that you'll see in BC, when you turn that layer on, will have the same type of pipeline set up. That takes same type of theme on the substances. You are able to click on any one of those pipelines and you still get that beautiful information card with all that pertinent information, the elevation profile. We have integrated our triage program, our pipeline integrity engineering assessment program into these pipelines as well. But what we are looking for at the end of the day is coherence. So, pardon me, I jumped ahead here. So I kind of went through this, how do we do it? And this is probably the biggest question, is how do you know it's right? You'll find out more about this at 1:45 in that BC pipeline presentation, but if I can just say this last bullet point right here, the coherence of working on further validation through rigorous human competence on each individual pipeline to ensure pipeline coherence. So yes, we have used AI, the power of AI, to bring about that network, but to validate that network, now we have somebody sitting in front of a computer looking at every single segment of the pipe, cross-referencing that, and again, validating that, but I will let you attend that session at 1:45, because it's going to be really good.
Thank you, Chris. Yeah, so one of the other small but mighty features that we've added to AbaData 3 is the ability to theme your dispositions. So this is a super handy tool if you are working in areas where your dispositions are overlapping one another, or if it's just a really busy area. Maybe you've got lots of pipelines, there's lots of surveys or right-of-ways that are kind of overlapping each other. You can theme the dispositions so that you can easily identify what is what. So what you'll do is you just want to click on the gear symbol that you'll find beside the dispositions layer. And then if you drop that down, this little pop-up window, there we go, comes up here. And then you can see here on the screenshot, I'm just gonna give you an example. So I've changed my MSLs to blue. My PLAs, which are my right-of-ways, they're gonna be pink, and then the LOCs and the other layers you can see there as well. So it's really just a way that you can easily identify those dispositions in really busy areas. And kind of a fun fact is that that was actually a feature that was added from feedback that we received from our users.
Okay, Smart Help. If you haven't seen it yet on your map screen, in the lower right-hand corner down, kind of in that support hub, is our Smart Help button. Now, I say up here, AI, it's AbaData Intelligence. This is a bit of a work in progress. Our machine learning engineer was showing me kind of the latest and greatest version of our Smart Help, just yesterday as a matter of fact. But if I can just refer to it as AbaData, it's what we call it in the office. As you know, with ChatGPT, if you've ever used any of these AI tools, the more that you train the tool, the better, the smarter it gets. So this latest version that I looked at yesterday, you can in fact enter in parameters for a report, for example, and it will generate that report for you. So gone are the days of going through the filter or selecting those objects on the map screen. You can just simply plug it into chat or into our AbaData, and you will get that response. So, as I said, it does need to be trained. So we have fed it our user guide. We have fed it our drag and drop guide. We fed it, a number of our manuals. I've asked it questions. Curtis has asked it questions. Stephanie has. As I said, it's kind of freaky to say, but it just gets smarter, the more you train it. So here we go.
For sure. So kind of along the same lines, something that we have recently added and we're very proud to introduce at this user conference today is the addition of our support hub. So what our support hub is a knowledge base that you are going to be able to access as an AbaData user. It's going to be a place where you can go and you can find different videos and kind of step-by-step guides on how you can use the features in AbaData. So maybe you have a question, maybe you just need someone to walk you through how to create a specific report or something like that. The knowledge base is going to be there for you. You can access that anytime when you're logged into AbaData. Now, that's actually linked at the bottom of your tools bar. So the bar that's on the left-hand side of the AbaData map screen, it's just linked there right at the bottom. All right, we are going to now jump into the second portion of our session today, which is really the tips and tricks that we have for using AbaData. So we've titled our session today Best Kept Secrets. And really they're not secrets in AbaData, they're features that Chris and I have kind of identified as some of those things that are really going to just enhance how you use the platform. It's going to kind of just take it up to the next level. So maybe a better way of putting it would be, not commonly used features, but we'll just jump right in here. So the first one I wanted to bring up is the right-click menu. So most of the time when people log into AbaData, you might find that you're going to that tools bar all the time to switch between your select tool, your pan, your zoom in, your zoom out. Those are actually available if you just right click on the screen. So it's gonna just save you time having to go back and forth every time you wanna switch between those navigational tools. So yeah, that's super nice. The other thing is that you actually have a couple of additional tools that are available to you in the right click menu. So you have this one here, the Zoom Previous. So that's a super nice tool to use if you are anything like me and you just get a little trigger happy with your the scroll wheel on your mouse there. If you just click on Zoom Previous, that's going to take you right back to where you were before. You also have these options here, DLS and the copy Latin long. So the DLS is just going to be a really quick reference of where you are. So for example, maybe you've entered in a search in your in the universal search bar, and you kind of pan around your map screen. Now you're not sure where you are. If you right click, that DLS location is listed right there for you. And then the copy Latin long is a super handy feature if you are looking to just copy your GPS coordinates. Maybe you need to add them to a spreadsheet or a document. If you just click on copy Latin long, they're going to copy right to your clipboard. They're ready for you to paste. All right, we also have the custom layers feature. Now, this is a way that you can add your own data into the platform. So specifically, custom layers is referring to shape files. This is listed right down at the bottom of your map display right here. And yeah, you just upload a shape file, and then it's a way that you can view your own data on the map screen. You can turn on the other map layers, and then you get to see how they are interacting with your shape files. The nice thing about that is that you can save them to your account. So when you do that, you can actually turn on and off that shapefile like any of the other map display layers that we have available. And you also have the option to share it with other users. So users within your own company, maybe it's a new line that you're working on or something like that. And you can share that with all of the users within your company if need be, and then you all have access to it within your AbaData account. All right, we also have the drag and drop feature here. I'm just going to play this video here in the background, but really the drag and drop is just kind of along the same lines. It's a way that you can add your own data into the platform. So you can see here as I'm kind of demonstrating, it's really as simple as dragging it and dropping it onto the map screen. It works with several different formats, so you can use it with JPEG, CSV files, GPX files. There's a whole slew of them that you can use. Access that knowledge base that I talked about before to get kind of the full rundown. But yeah, you can just drag and drop the items in, and then they are either going to be immediately displayed on your map screen, or in some cases, you're also going to have the option to save those to your AbaData account as well. Yeah, so this one is the GPX file that I'm just demonstrating here. And you can see there, it's just added those points into the map for me, and then I'm able to view them there. And then if you are someone that is creating custom well or custom pipeline lists in AbaData, this is really handy because you can actually drag and drop a CSV of well or pipeline licenses, and it will automatically add them to that list for you. So that's going to be demonstrated here as well. And then you can see it's going to add it to my list, and then it's going to just take on the highlight or the color that I've selected to identify those lines or those wells. Yeah, like I said before, if you have any further questions on that, you can access the knowledge base. We have a PDF that's going to outline all the different ways that you can use that. If you want to get a better idea of how it works, maybe you want to see a live demo, we will have questions at the end, or you can visit the help desk out in the main foyer there, and we'd be happy to show you that there as well.
Yes, please. Super cool. Yeah. Thanks, Oscar.
I was thinking for that right click as well, you can take your lat longs that onto the clipboard and you can just paste that into the search bar as well. So those coordinates will locate that well site. You can put in, as Stephanie was saying, also in that search bar, license numbers, so good. All right. Saving, managing, and sharing maps. So, for 1 second, let's just imagine that it's, a Thursday afternoon, a Friday afternoon, and your lead or your buddy comes to your office and says, "Hey, Chris, let's go for cold beverages at our local establishment." And you're going to turn and you're going to say, "Buddy, just give me 30 seconds, because that's all it takes to save your map." You spent the last hour setting your filters, getting your imagery just set right, and then boom, the phone rings, or you get that knock on the door. So let's work smarter. Let's work smarter, not harder. To start, so you've got all your settings saved. Go right to your profile icon that's up at the upper right-hand corner of your map screen. Once you're there, just follow these very simple steps. And you will first need to give your map a name. So this is where you will look for save the map. Just scroll about halfway down. Name the map. Give it a project name. Give it the nickname that you guys kind of call it amongst your group. You can give it an LSD if you'd like. All you have to do is remember what that map is called, because you can save unlimited maps in AbaData. As I said, you just need to remember what that particular map is that you're after. So as you're kind of working through the save map pop up there, do you want this map setting and filters to be, do you want these map settings and filters to be there when you log on? So that's hitting that, make it the default map. Now, not everybody sees that second one, make it the contract default map. Those are generally speaking for people who have administrative permissions within AbaData. So basically, though, if you click that button, you're setting your map, your filters, your defaults for the entire contract, for the entire company. We can do that. We can reset that. You just have to let us know. But that's what that one's for. And then if you don't want that map to be your default map, well, then you just don't select that button there. But this one right here, the map location to zoom, so zoom to location. That, when it's paired with the default map, as soon as you log in, it will take you to that 10 to 12. It will take you right to that facility. It will take you right to that location that you have on your map. Map customizations, generally speaking, that's stuff from the drawing tool. So lines, circles, shapes, polygons, those will be saved on your map as well. Any new filters, any new settings, you do need to go into Save Your Maps and overwrite that particular map. And you'll see there's that drop-down menu there, and you'll see, a list of 100 maps there if you want. But again, any new filters, any new settings do need to be saved. And that's just as you work through everything. So when we come into the managing and sharing part of the maps, we're still into our user profile icon. So when we're in there, we can select on our manage maps right here. There's a list of a whole bunch of maps that come down. In there, once in there, you can change the name of the map. So if it's been updated or you want it to get a different name or something, you can delete that map. But you can also share that map. And this is what I love about AbaData, is when you select that Sharo, that icon there, you'll see that a number of screens start to appear. So basically what it comes down to is you can share internally amongst other AbaData users, amongst your coworkers. Conversely, you can share outside your company as well. Now the only caveat there is that that person outside of your company also needs to be an AbaData user. Chances are, roll of the dice, they're going to be an AbaData user. If not, you could just revert to kind of the old way, email, export the map, attachment, and so on and so on. What we're really trying to do here is just eliminate that one step, just make your day more efficient, make your day that much more productive. So that is sharing and saving and managing your maps. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to change your life. It's fantastic. I just found out about it when I moved to AbaData, so it was a bit of an epiphany. Now, pipeline theming and map customizations. I would say the number one question we get at AbaData is how can I change the line thickness, or how do I increase the line thickness on my pipelines? I'm going to show you how to do that. Just to start off here, just to kick it off, when you log into AbaData, we already have our wells and our pipelines defaulted. So that's what you see on your map screen. Just a little quick reminder, all of our wells are symbolized by status and all of our pipelines are symbolized by substance. So kind of an RGB, red gas, green oil, blue water, and then every iteration thereof. But when you come into the pipeline layer, and this is generally whenever you come across this particular icon in AbaData, it allows you to adjust or customize how you see that layer on the map screen. As I say in my training sessions, everybody learns differently, everybody processes information differently, so just having that ability to really make it sink in, resonate with you, that's what that icon is all about. So when I click on that pipeline, in the pipeline layer, I click on the gear icon, this is what pops up. Ladies and gentlemen, at the top of the list is the line thickness. So right now we have it defaulted to 1.5. You can double that to 3. You can triple that to 4.5. Whatever it may be, but what you will find is that if there are a number of pipes, say stacked in a trench, going into a facility, coming out of a facility, whatever it may be, as you scroll, as you zoom out, those 3 or 4 lines start to kind of meld together, and it just looks like one big red line, or one big blue line, or one big green line. You do need to zoom in just to kind of parse those different lines out. You can always knock your line thickness down as well. But as you can see here, as I said, all of our pipelines are symbolized by substance. At any time, you can go in and you can change the color. As a matter of fact, I was doing a training session with the AER just the other day, and one of their users said, well, hey, can I make my natural gas kind of green 8 and ham, like a bright green? I said, heck yeah, you can do that. So we just came down here and we changed it, and then again, it's this kind of visual representation, this visual cue on the map that, it was easier for him to see that bright green line. Perfect. But if you click on this green plus sign right here, it opens up this other column, and now you are able to change the symbolization of the pipeline. So again, how it looks on the map, how that particular line looks. So in this case, maybe I want my abandoned lines to look dashed, maybe I want my discontinued lines to look dotted. So now, instead of having to scroll my mouse over every single line, I can just, boom, clearly see on the map what it looks like, and that is just an easier way to look at the information, look at the data. Okay. I'm sorry, I should have had a better slide up there, with a photo of what that actually looked like, but in any case, here we go. Okay, now those are our tips and tricks. Those were kind of the ones that Stephanie and I, had up our sleeve. I'm just gonna throw it out there. If you don't have to answer, but if anybody has any tips and tricks that you'd like to share, that would be awesome. Oh, wait, right now.
I actually have a question.
Oh, fantastic.
So I was wondering, if you're in an area like Pipeline Valley where there's a ton of pipelines, different companies in the same spot, can you create a map that automatically highlights every time you search that area where companies' pipelines within that whole pipelines, and you have that as a default?
We're gonna have to break this down. Go. So pipelines in an area.
Where there's a ton of different operators, a ton of different pipelines owned by different companies. And every time you go to that spot, you want to see your company's pipelines always
Super bright colors.
Yes.
Totally.
Absolutely, that is the option that we have. Maybe I'll actually just jump over to AbaData right now. We can kind of do a live demo.
That's great. I would say the company filter. Everybody's familiar with the company filter. I think that's probably the best way. Have you used the company filter before? Do you know? No.
I probably have, but then it just showed me my company's pipelines. I want to see all of them.
You see all?
To stand out.
for yours to stand out. There is a way to do that. 1 second.
Yeah, absolutely.
Real your profile.
Yeah, for sure. Is there a specific area that we could use for a demonstration?
Like front couch listed.
Section 5 of 5323.
Feel like you've done that once or twice.
Sorry, Meridian?
Fourth.
Fourth?
John, Kent is on. James.
Curtis, sorry, it's not picking up on the screen.
Oh,
Oh my goodness, you weren't kidding when you said Pipeline Alley.
this is all. This.
Sorry, everyone. Thank you for your patience.
Joe. On the.
It's not inflection because that can also ignite.
Thank you very much. Okay, so yes, what you're gonna do is come up here to your company filter. And this is actually what this tool was created for, so this is great. So what you can do is you're going to just enter in the company that you want to filter by. So which company are you with, or which?
Imperial Oil.
Imperial? Okay, so I'm just gonna enter it in there, and then I'm gonna click on search. Maybe I should put in oil. And then yeah, you can you're gonna select all of the ones that apply. So some of the times that you're gonna see multiple options come up for the same company. So usually what we recommend is that you just select all that apply for you. So if there's duplicates that you see, just select all of them. Sometimes it applies to different provinces or things like that. So I'll just go ahead and do that. Okay, and then what you want to do once you have all of those selected is just click on where it says add selected, and that's going to move it over to this right-hand screen. And now when I did that, you can see that the map behind me has now changed. So now the colored lines that are coming up are only Imperial Oil lines. Now, if I want to see Imperial Oil lines as colored, but like you said, you want to see everything, but you just want those lines, your Imperial Oil lines, to be colored, you're just going to click on this option right here at the top, show only map objects for filtered companies. If I deselect that, you can see now Imperial Oil lines are still colored, everything else is black. Does that help answer your question?
Yep. And then you can still navigate them to the other lines and right click to see information on them too, or just kind of block that out.
No, absolutely. So you can still double click on the lines, you can still use AbaData as normal. These settings are going to stay for your current session, so as long as you want to see it this way. And I think you can even save it as a map default. Yeah, so if this is how you wanted to see all of your lines within AbaData all the time, yeah, as Chris said, you can save that as a map default, and then, yeah, every time you log in, this is what you're going to see instead.
Will that work for LLCs too? Which kind of on the access run LLC.
You can't filter display. Oh, actually, I think you can. Yes. Let me just see here. Yes, down in the map display options, if you go to surveys, and then you're going to go to the filters tab, and then scroll down to the bottom. You have the service client filter, so you can filter by client right there. And then you also have, as well, activity filters. So you can just select the LOCs if that's all you want to see, for example. You can see all the options there. Any other questions? Yeah.
Pretty good. I was wondering about old students on my score and I've been looking back their right mornings for this other would actually be slightly that as a stock.
So probably the way that you would do that is through a report, like a select report. But I don't think is there a way that you can just view all of the map objects like as a list? Yeah. So the best thing that you would have to do is just run a report. So you have report options here. You'll see global and select, and then Chris ran through subscriptions. So kind of the difference between the two is lower reports are reports that query our entire database of information. So they're really good for if you need to run a report with lots of data. Select reports, that's going to refer to anything that you have selected on the map screen. So for example, if I wanted to just run a pipeline report for this area, I could just click and drag across those lines. You can see them highlighted now. And then if I go up to my select report option, I have a list of reports that I can now run based on that information. So if I click on pipeline report, I'm going to click on run report, and it's just generated a list of all those pipelines that I have selected. So that would be kind of the workaround for that. Any other questions? For sure.
So we played around with Polygon to make our own custom layers.
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned there's a snap to feature for saving a map that goes right to that map and click on it. Is there a feature like that that comes down for just custom layers? When I turn on that layer, it doesn't automatically snap to it where
Right, so you mean like zoom to?
yeah,
Like to zoom to the layer?
I can save it as a
Yeah.
map once I have the shape up, but
Yeah.
just when you turn on that custom layer, there are ways to where that layer is.
Yeah, for sure. So yes, that option right now is not available. So when you save a shapefile into AbaData under the custom layers, you are going to have to zoom to that location first. It is something that has been discussed previously though, the option to zoom to those shapefiles. So yeah, I guess we're just gonna have to see what comes down the line.
Hey, I've got, oh, go ahead. Oh my gosh.
The being classification to that save on those map.
It will, you mean theme, like the theme dispositions of pipelines and things?
Is like on something that save when you log out or that save the user.
Yeah, so it will as long as you have it saved in your default map. So Chris kind of covered how you would save a default map. So yeah, what you'll want to do is you'll want to go into your map display layers. You're going to turn on or off anything that you want selected or you want to see every single time. And then you're going to save that map and you're going to click that all important button, make it the default map. That's going to ensure that all of those settings are going to continue past your current session.
And then the other question I had is on the distance of your searching catalyst.
Mm-hmm.
Is there the option of splitting out the fallacy, the pipelines versus that was least of guys?
I don't think we have that ability quite yet.
Batching.
Anybody else? Yeah.
If I remember that in the workplace, or the Instagram and got but I tried to to use the making course of what happened. Actually, was an US.
So yeah, you can attach different files to specific lines and things like that. So what you would do in that case is you would actually just, I'm just going to double click on any random line here. And this works for pretty much any map object. So you can do this for wells or pipelines, for example. Oh, I think it doesn't know what I clicked on here.
Yeah, it's true.
While we're waiting for that pipeline information card to pop up, just a couple other tips and tricks as I was looking at this screen. Shift key on your keyboard and the left key on your mouse can do two things. One, when you're in the pan in this cursor up here, holding down the shift key on your keyboard and the left key on your mouse, you're able to shade across a certain area. So if you're just wanting to zoom into that quarter section, and then if you just want to zoom into that 8-well pad on that quarter section, you can just do that shading across and we'll just zoom and it will clearly bring up those 8 wells. And the other thing that you can do is you can individually deselect items or map objects that you may have mistakenly selected on the map. So instead of hitting that clear selection every time and wiping your map screen clear, just try holding down the shift key on your keyboard and the left key on your mouse to individually deselect a pipeline, or if you don't want that well, or if you don't want that facility, et cetera, et cetera. So just a couple of tips and tricks.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, back to your question. This is how you would attach files specifically to a pipeline or a well. So I just double clicked to open up a pipeline here, and then I'm just on this tab here that says attachments. And yeah, you're just gonna click on attach file, and then you can just save whatever you need in there. And then you can see if you want to share it within your contract, so all of the users within your AbaData account, you just drop it into that file there, and then everyone has access to it within the database.
I love it. I love it. Well, hey, listen, it's 10:30. We've gone way over. If you'd like to stick around for our quiz, we can do that. And if not, if you need to caffeine, get a little hit of caffeine, then by all means, but that's, thank you so much, everybody, for joining.